The grand hall of Zephyros City was shining brightly under the twin moons. The Velaryon nobles had gathered for one of the most important events of the year, the choosing ceremony. It was a tradition where powerful alien women from noble families chose their life partners. The ceremony was full of luxury, colors, and strange beauty from dozens of alien species. Daniel stood at the very edge of the great hall. He was a human, and among all these powerful and exotic beings he looked like an outsider. His simple black suit could not match the sparkling robes, armor, and shining dresses of the others. But Daniel didn't care much. He wasn't even sure why he had been invited. Humans were still new to the Galactic Union. They were often seen as weak, emotional, and unimportant by many of the older alien races. Daniel had heard the whispers since he arrived. Some laughed at humans, while others ignored them completely. Daniel glanced around nervously. The room was full of powerful beings. Giant insect-like creatures stood beside tall, glowing humanoids. Reptilian warriors polished their decorated armor, while plant-based creatures waved their leaves in the air. He felt small and out of place. The ceremony started when the High Elder walked to the center stage and raised his hand. "Let the choosing ceremony begin," the Elder announced in a deep voice. "Let every noblewoman select her chosen mate." The crowd cheered. One by one, noblewomen came forward. Each made her choice, walking directly to the male she desired and offering a simple gesture, the ceremonial hand touch. That marked the beginning of the bond. Daniel watched in silence. He had no expectation that anyone would even notice him. Then came Lysera. She was different from the others. A Velaryon noble of the highest class, known for her intelligence, beauty, and leadership. Her pale blue skin shimmered softly under the moonlight. Her long silver hair moved gently with each graceful step she took. Lysara's small elf-like ears twitched slightly as her eyes scanned the rows of males. Everyone waited eagerly to see which powerful male she would select. Some strong Velaryon warriors stood proudly, expecting her to approach. Even a few high-ranking officials from other species adjusted their posture, hoping she would notice them. But Lysara didn't stop at any of them. Her eyes kept searching, calmly, confidently. And then, to everyone's shock, she walked straight toward Daniel. The entire hall fell silent. Daniel's heart raced. Was she coming toward him? He looked around, thinking maybe she was heading for someone behind him. But no, Lysara stood directly in front of him. "You," she said softly, her voice calm and smooth. "I choose you." Before Daniel could react, she reached out her hand and touched his. The crowd gasped. Then came the whispers. The laughter followed. Quickly, "A human? She picked a human?" someone whispered. "Is this a joke?" said another. Many nobles started laughing openly. Some shook their heads in disbelief, while others covered their mouths, trying not to offend Lysara too directly. Daniel's face turned red with embarrassment. He couldn't believe what was happening. Why him? Out of all the strong and powerful males in the room, why would someone like her choose him? Even the High Elder looked surprised, but quickly regained his calm expression. "The bond is accepted," he declared. "The ceremony continues." As Lysara held Daniel's hand, she gently led him away from the crowd. The whispers followed them like shadows. Once they reached a private corridor, Daniel finally found his voice. "Why?" he asked, still shocked. "Why did you pick me?" Lysara paused, looking at him with a small, mysterious smile. "Because I have my reasons," she said. "You will know in time." Daniel wanted to ask more, but something in her tone made him stop. She was calm and sure of herself. As if everything was going exactly as she had planned, she led him into her private sky residence, a floating palace above the city. The place was filled with beautiful art, advanced technology, and views that stretched across the stars. "You are safe here," Lysara said. "This will be your home now." Daniel sat down on a comfortable seat, still trying to understand everything. His mind was spinning. Just hours ago, he was a nobody in this huge galactic society. Now, he was the mate of one of the most powerful women in the Velaryon Empire. As night fell, Daniel lay in the large guest room provided to him. He couldn't sleep. His thoughts kept running in circles. Why did she choose me? What did she mean? By reasons, what happens next? Outside his window, the stars blinked peacefully, but Daniel's heart was restless. Deep inside, he felt that this was just the beginning of something far bigger than a simple ceremonial choice. The morning sun rose slowly over Zephyros City, casting soft golden light on the floating towers and shimmering streets below. Daniel woke up in the large guest room that Lysara had given him. The room was quiet and peaceful, but Daniel's mind was full of questions he could not answer. He dressed quickly and went out into the large hall of the palace. Lysara was already there, preparing for the day ahead. Her calm presence made Daniel feel a little less alone, but the mystery of her choice still weighed heavily on him. Daniel knew many in the city still whispered about him. The nobles' laughter from the ceremony had not stopped. Many still saw him as unworthy of Lysara's attention. A weak human who did not belong in their world, yet Lysara treated him with respect and care. She gave him fine clothes that fit his simple form, foods that were strange but delicious, and explained little by little the ways of the Velaryon society. Still, she never answered the most important question: why had she chosen him? The day passed slowly. Daniel followed Lysara through the palace and the city. He saw grand halls filled with alien art, gardens that floated in the air, and people speaking languages he could barely understand. At one point, Daniel asked again, "Lysara, why me? Why did you pick a human instead of any other noble or warrior?" Lysara smiled gently but said nothing. Instead, she changed the subject, speaking about a coming festival and the duties they both had to prepare for. Daniel felt frustrated. He wanted to trust her, but the silence made him feel like a pawn in a game he did not understand. Later that day, as they walked through the city's market, Daniel noticed something strange. A group of hooded figures whispered and pointed toward Lysara. One of them muttered loudly, "The human is with her." This will bring shame. Daniel's heart sank. Not everyone welcomed their strange bond. Many powerful families wanted Lysara to pick a stronger mate, one who would bring glory and power, not controversy, but Lysara remained calm, ignoring the whispers and the hostile stares. She seemed strong and confident, as if she expected these reactions. At the palace, Daniel had time alone. His thoughts turned darker. Was he only chosen as a joke, or for some hidden reason he did not know? Was Lysara protecting him? Or was she using him for something dangerous? The night came, and Daniel decided to explore more of the palace. He walked quietly through the long halls. Passing rooms filled with glowing screens and strange devices, he noticed one door slightly open and peeked inside. There, in a small room filled with holographic maps and data, two men spoke in low voices. "The humans are growing stronger," said one man, his face hidden in shadow. "We must act before they become a threat?" The other replied, "Lysara's mate may be the key. If we remove him, the plan will succeed." Daniel's heart pounded. What plan? What threat? Why was Lysara's mate involved? He backed away silently and returned to his room. Sleep was impossible now. The next day, Daniel confronted Lysara. "There are people who want to harm me. Why am I important to them?" Lysara's face grew serious. She took his hands and said, "Daniel, you are more important than you know. The Velaryon Council has secrets. They plan to use humans as a scapegoat to keep their power." Daniel stared, confused. "But why me? Why choose me in front of everyone? Knowing it would bring laughter and danger?" "Because you are unexpected," Lysara said softly. "You are not a warrior, not a politician, and that makes you the perfect ally." Daniel tried to understand. She continued, "The Council's plan is dangerous. They want to start a war that will destroy many lives. I need someone I can trust, someone who sees the truth and will stand with me." The weight of her words hit Daniel hard. He was no longer just a human caught in an alien ceremony. He was part of a larger fight for peace and justice. "Will you help me?" Lysara asked quietly. Daniel looked into her eyes and nodded slowly. "Yes, I will stand with you." From that moment, their bond changed. It was no longer about titles or laughter. It was about trust and a shared mission. Together, They would face the unknown dangers ahead, dangers that could decide the fate of their worlds. The floating city of Zephyros shimmered under the soft light of its twin moons, but inside the grand palace, shadows deepened around Daniel's thoughts. Since Lysara had shared the secret about the Velaryon Council's dangerous plan, his world had changed completely. He was no longer a simple outsider. He was now caught in a struggle that could shake the entire Galactic Union every day. Daniel met with Lysara in a quiet chamber filled with holographic maps and data streams. Lysara taught him about the politics, the hidden factions, and the secrets behind the Velaryon Council's power. The Council controls everything, Lysara explained. They have spies everywhere, and they want to blame humans for problems they cause. If they succeed, they will start a war. Your people will suffer. Daniel listened carefully, trying to absorb every detail. He was surprised by how much he did not know about this alien world, about the delicate balance of power, and the dangerous games played in the shadows. One evening, Lysara looked at Daniel seriously. There is more. You should know everything. She paused and took a deep breath. The Council's plan includes framing you and other humans for attacks on Velaryon citizens. They want to start a war to distract from their crimes and increase their control. Daniel's eyes widened. But why me? Why frame me? Because you are visible, Lysara said softly. You are close to me. They believe that by attacking my mate, they can hurt me and scare others. But I will not let them. Daniel felt the weight of her words. Suddenly, the laughter and disrespect he had faced before seemed small compared to the dangers now facing him. That night, Daniel could barely sleep. He thought of his home on Earth, his family, and the friends he left behind. He wondered if he would ever see them again. The next day, Lysara arranged a secret meeting with some of her closest allies, trusted nobles who did not support the corrupt council. Daniel was nervous as he entered the hidden room. The group was small but powerful. They welcomed Daniel carefully but with respect. One of the nobles, a tall being with green skin named Thaler, spoke first. We know the council will not stop. Thaler said, they see humans as weak, but they are wrong. Humans have courage and strength. Daniel, your presence here is a sign of hope. Daniel felt a strange pride. For the first time, he was not just a human far from home. He was part of a team fighting for justice. The allies planned their next steps carefully. They would gather proof of the council's crimes and expose them before the war could begin. But the council's spies were everywhere, and one wrong move could mean disaster. Days passed with tense secrecy. Daniel trained with Lysara and her guards, learning how to defend himself and navigate the dangerous politics of Zephyros. One night, while reviewing stolen data, Daniel noticed a strange message hidden in the code. It was a warning from an unknown source. Trust no one but Lysara and Daniel. The council's eyes are everywhere. The message confirmed their fears. The council was close to discovering their plans. Suddenly, alarms sounded through the palace. Red lights flashed and guards rushed in. We have been found, Lysara said, her voice calm but firm. Prepare yourselves. Daniel's heart pounded. They were under attack. The council's elite guards stormed the palace halls, searching for Lysara and Daniel. The small group of allies fought bravely, using advanced technology and quick tactics to slow the enemy. In the chaos, Daniel's human instincts saved them more than once. He used his knowledge of human tools and problem-solving skills to hack security doors and create escapes. Lysara's strength and leadership guided the group through hidden tunnels beneath the palace. After a narrow escape, they reached a secure location deep below the city. They were safe, for now. Breathing heavily, Daniel looked at Lysara. They want me dead, he said quietly. Yes, Lysara replied, because you represent something more than they can control. Together we will stop them. Daniel felt a new strength inside him. The man who had once been laughed at was now a fighter for peace. The real battle was only beginning. After their narrow escape from the council's guards, Lysara and Daniel found refuge deep within the ancient tunnels beneath Zephyros City. The air was cool and still, a sharp contrast to the chaos above. Here, hidden from prying eyes and dangerous enemies, they could finally plan their next move. Daniel looked around at the small group of trusted allies who had followed them underground. Though the room was simple, it was filled with quiet determination. Everyone knew the risks, but they were ready to fight for justice. Lysara stood at the center, her pale blue skin glowing faintly in the dim light. She turned to Daniel, her eyes filled with resolve. "This is where we start," she said. "The council thinks they can control everything with lies and fear, but we have truth on our side." Daniel nodded. Though he was still learning about this alien world, he felt ready to stand with her. The people he had met here, strong, wise, and loyal, inspired him. He was no longer just a human caught in their struggles. He was part of something greater. Their first task was to gather evidence. The council's corruption ran deep, hidden in secret files and encrypted messages. Lysara and her allies had some data, but they needed more clear proof that would convince the Galactic Union to act. Daniel used his human skills and technology and logic to help decode the files they had stolen. Working side by side with Lysara, he discovered hidden records showing the Council's plans to blame humans for attacks on their own citizens. These lies would cause a war, Daniel said quietly. If they succeed, many innocent lives will be lost. Lysara placed her hand on his shoulder. That is why we cannot fail. Days passed in a tense rhythm of work and preparation. The group used every moment to analyze data, train for defense, and communicate secretly with allies in the city. They knew the Council's spies could be anywhere. Daniel learned quickly. Lysara taught him how to move quietly, how to read the complex political signs, and how to trust his instincts. His human creativity and courage added strength to their team. One evening, as Daniel studied a map of Zephyros, Lysara approached with a serious expression. "There is a shipment," she sighed. "Weapons meant for the Council's secret forces. If we stop it, we weaken their power." Daniel's eyes brightened. "We can try to intercept it," Lysara smiled. "Good, but it will be dangerous." The next night, under the cover of darkness, Lysara, Daniel, and a small team set out to intercept the shipment. They moved silently through the city's lower levels, avoiding patrols and security cameras. The warehouse where the shipment was held, Daniel's heart raced. They needed to act quickly, using a combination of Lysara's alien technology and Daniel's hacking skills. They disabled the security systems. Then, working together, they stopped the shipment and took control of the weapons. Their success was a small but important victory. It sent a clear message to the Council. Lysara and Daniel were not powerless. Back in their hidden base, they celebrated quietly. But there was no time to rest. The Council was already responding. A new wave of spies and guards hunted for them. The tension grew. Everyone knew the coming days would be harder. One night, Daniel and Lysara stood outside the base, looking up at the stars. "Do you think we can win?" Daniel asked. Lysara looked at him with a soft smile. "We must, for our people, for peace." Daniel felt a strong connection to her, not just as a leader, but as a partner. The laughter and doubt from the past seemed far away. Together, they faced the silent war, a fight not with open battles, but with secrets, courage, and hope. And in that quiet struggle, humanity showed its true strength. The day of reckoning had finally come. In the grand hall of the Galactic Union, representatives from many worlds gathered to hear the truth. The hall was vast and shining, filled with beings from countless species. Above all, the eyes of the Velaryon Council were watching, proud and confident, certain their lies would remain hidden. Lysara and Daniel entered the hall together. Lysara wore her noble robes, calm and strong, while Daniel, still feeling the weight of his journey, stood tall beside her. The crowd's whispers and murmurs tried to unsettle them, but they did not falter. The High Elder rose and called the assembly to order. "Today we will hear the evidence of a great betrayal and decide the fate of the Velaryon Council." Lysara stepped forward first. Her voice rang clear and steady as she spoke about the secret plans, the false accusations against humans, and the danger the Council posed to peace. Then Daniel presented the stolen data, holograms of messages, secret orders, and plans to start a war. The evidence was undeniable. The hall fell silent. Some council members tried to deny the charges, but their words fell flat. Witnesses loyal to Lysara and Daniel came forward, confirming the truth. Slowly, the unity of the Galactic Union shifted. The corrupted leaders were exposed. The High Elder declared the council members guilty and ordered their arrest. Cheers erupted from many parts of the hall, especially from humans and their supporters. The war had been stopped before it began. Daniel looked at Lysara, gratitude shining in his eyes. "We did it," he whispered. Lysara smiled softly. "Together." Later, outside the hall, the nobles who had once mocked Daniel approached him with respect. Some bowed deeply, others shook his hand firmly. "You have changed our view of humans," said Thaler, the green-skinned noble who had stood with them. "Your courage is worthy of honor." Daniel felt proud but humble. He remembered the laughter and doubt, and how far he had come in the weeks that followed. Peace returned to Zephyros and the Galactic Union. Lysara and Daniel's bond grew stronger, not just as noble and mate, but as partners who had saved their worlds. One evening, as they stood watching the stars, Lysara took Daniel's hand. "Now you know why I chose you," she said quietly. "You are more than I ever expected." Daniel smiled, his heart full. "And now I am proud to stand by your side, as your mate, your friend, and your equal." The laughter was gone. In its place was respect, hope, and a new beginning. Together, they faced the future, a future where humans and aliens stood united, stronger than ever before.